Welcome along to Trip Notes, a New Zealand Herald travel podcast. It's brought to you by House of Travel, better together. Next to me, Deputy Editor of New Zealand Herald Travel, Stephanie Holmes, and next to her, the Editor of New Zealand Herald Travel.
I know, we've got the boss in. I've got to behave myself
That's
today.
right, Winston Aldworth. Welcome along.
Yep, good to be here. Thank you for having me in here. Thanks for getting me on board. The podcast has been great, and it's fantastic to finally get to come into this studio.
I know, well, there's been a bit of a queue of celebrities, but we've managed to squeeze you in, and you are a travel expert, so we're very happy to have you here and find out everything you know about travel. No pressure.
Yeah, probably. I try to present myself as an expert, and so this might be the kind of litmus test where I get shown
basically
up.
an exam.
I've made it up made it up as I've gone along the whole way. So why stop now?
Yeah.
All right, so we will at the end of the podcast, where we normally do the destination of the week, being that it has been cruise month, it is cruise month, we're going to look at European river cruising, which you've done. We've got our travel bug section too, and this is going to be about planes, because you love
a plane nerd.
Love aviation, but you don't like people complaining about
That's right.
flying. So we'll look at that soon.
Yep, great.
And are you someone who knows how many countries you've been to since then, or in your whole life? Or?
No, I did. It came up in conversation recently, and I had a bit of a look, and it wasn't that many actually.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I'm always surprised. Like, I think, it must be hundreds, but like, I'm only up to about 31, I think.
Yeah, I think
because quite often I'll go back to the same places again. Like, I've been to lots of different places in the States, but that only counts as one country. So
do you include places you've transited?
No,
no, you can't. I mean, actually,
unless you've left the airport.
There's a test because I've met a guy. I've met a guy who is or claims to be the youngest person in the world to have gone to every single country.
But he's just been to every airport.
No. He told me how the whatever Guinness records test is you have to spend a night and a day in each place.
Okay.
So transits don't count, and he was telling me getting Tuvalu off the list was quite tricky because it's like one flight a week. So if you're trying to just stack them up and move quickly,
and war-torn countries,
the
don't like
ones.
Sudan,
But also I mean, to be kind of like I'm kind of a completist. Like, I like to finish a game of solitaire properly or whatever. But the thought of going to every country to get the stamps or tick them is quite exhausting, and it's kind of beyond the point of travel, really, isn't it? Like, we're there to meet people, experience cool things, and I guess if that was your experience doing all of those in one big hit, then that would be a thing. But I can't help but think that you'd be missing a bit of the local colour.
Spend my one night, one day, I'm off.
Also,
seen it all.
How much money are you going to drop doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
got to be an influencer.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, that could be my travel buck.
So with my job, I know that the biggest or the commonest question I get is this the best job in the world? You probably get the same. Is this the best job in the world?
It can be, which is a really lame answer. So sorry. Is it the best job? Yeah, so it's a dream job. And every time you meet someone, say, "Oh, what do you do?" "I'm a travel writer." It's like, "Oh, wow." It's like, is that even a job? It's like one of those mythical. It's like it's a unicorn job, isn't it? It's like, So, and you've got it, and you're doing it. So people look at that and they think it must be great to travel for a job. And I guess the first thing you'd say is, well, go and ask someone who works cabin crew on long haul for some airline on 17-hour flights, and that, if that's the best job. And there's stuff they'll tell you that is amazing and great and rewarding and really cool. But the travel does just kind of wear you down.
So when is it the best? When is it the best, and when is it not the best?
So it's for me. So I've been doing this for 7.5 years, and it comes and goes. I've noticed I'll often be hanging the washing out, and I'll see, and it's usually an Emirates A380 flyover because we can see the flight path by the washing line, and I'll know if I can be bothered travelling or not because I'll be hanging the washing out, and sometimes it says plane go over and just roll your eyes, and other times you go, "Oh wow, it'd be cool to get on that again."
Yeah.
And so I've had these spells. I'll go for like a year where I'm like right back into it. And you'll know this, Steve. Like, there's been periods where I've been like, right, I'm going on this trip. I'm going to go here. And so you're going away every month, and then you just get to the end of this big long spell of being really excited about all these, limitless possibilities, places to go, and suddenly for like a year, 18 months, you can't really. It's hard to get really motivated.
I haven't got to that point yet. Just send me anywhere.
Are you guys jaded? Because I love hotel rooms. Like, I don't
Yep.
ever want to be someone who's blasé about hotel rooms.
Yep.
Love a hotel room.
The three of us are so lucky that we can stay in places we'd
completely.
never be able to afford.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you ever walk into a hotel, nice hotel, and like, this is not good enough?
I'll tell you what. The thing with hotels, like if I'm on a work trip, I actually prefer a hotel to be kind of, not a dump, but just functional. Like I like the kind of joint where people go for business, right? And so you got a clean, nice room, half decent bar, and you're close to stuff in the city. A couple of times I've been on these trips and they go, Mr. Aldworth, come in, we'll take you to your suite. And you go into these places because you're hosted on this amazing trip, and they take you into this. Here is your luxury penthouse suite, and you got views over whatever, and you got spa pool and a bottle of champagne, all this stuff, and you're on your own, and you're there on a work trip, and you're on your like a couple of times. I remember walking into this into the peninsula in Hong Kong, which is like one of the hotels in the world. It's really beautiful and stunning. There's a funny story about the Rolls Royces there I can tell too, but so
Let's do
he this guy takes me in there, shows me around that, and then walks out, and I was just the loneliest man in the world.
Yeah.
I was just like, I wish my wife was
There's
here.
a whole country of tiny violins playing. For
Yeah,
you right
I
now.
know, but I fully get that. Don't get me wrong, the champagne was great.
Rolls Royces. Before we forget.
Oh yeah, so there's this funny story. Like they had this fleet of Rolls Royces, of course, because when you're staying at the peninsula, they come and pick you up from the airport in a Rolls. Actually, funny one on that. I'd been hiking in Nepal, up in the Everest region, and it took quite a long time to get out of there. We all got reined in at Lukla Airport, the most dangerous airport in the world, which is awesome. So we're stuck there for like 3 days, and people were starting to lose their marbles because you've been trekking for like 2 weeks and you're covered in mud and you just want to get home. And I remember there was this family, a Kiwi family, who were there in another group, and they were staying somewhere near we were, all perched around the airport waiting for a chance to get out. And they were in a really bad way. They were like, quite distressed about having been there so long. The teenage kids just wanted to have a shower and all that stuff. Anyway, and so we'd seen them, and I was quite sympathetic to them. Anyway, somehow we ended up on the same flight. Eventually, we all got out, and we ended up on the same flight from Kathmandu to Hong Kong. And so we land. And we get off the plane at the same time, and there's this chauffeur from the Peninsula Hotels there for me. So,
With your rolls.
We're all still carrying our backpacks and our crap from walking around in mud in the Everest region, and there's this dude in the Rolls straight out, and literally the Rolls is out the front of the airport, and he's straight in. Waves to this
You didn't give anyone a lift anywhere?
No, there wasn't a lot of room in the back of the Rolls.
All your champagne in there. There's no
Very
room for
upsetting.
anybody else.
Anyway, but that's the funny tragic story is they had a massive storm in Hong Kong many years ago, and the basement of this hotel got flooded, and 25 Rolls Royces ruined.
Oh no.
So the owner of the hotel gets a checkbook out, boom, buys another however many Rolls Royces. And it's amazing to like that. To me, that's just I'm a Corolla guy. That's an amazing amount of money to spend on a car. And I think for a lot of, this is one insight I've had from being in this job, is just how much luxury travel is out there, and it is a real thing. Like to most of us, we travel, we look at price when we're buying the plane ticket, and when we're on the ground, we're trying not to drop too much money. And so people often presume that luxury is kind of a myth, not a myth, but that it's not quite real. That I've people email me or bail me up to say, why do you run so many like we do the flight check reviews, and we'll review business class and first class. And so there's two things. People are fascinated with it, even if you don't fly, or even if you don't stay in luxury. It is a fascinating thing. And it's kind of surprising just how many people there are that drop serious amounts of money and pay their own money to stay in these incredible places and have that kind of money. And it's partly what keeps the wheels going around, and the whole thing keeps the planes coming in here, that keeps the cheap seats in the planes, that makes it possible for the rest of us to...
Is there one hotel you think is the most jaw-dropping that you ever stayed at? Like a palace in India, or...
Oh, well, yeah. There was a literal palace in India. Yeah, thank you. The Taj Faluknama in Hyderabad, which was that was jaw dropping. Yeah, that was just a kind of crazy moment where you do just stop in your track. Luckily, there I was with a great group, so I didn't feel lonely and it's all wasted on me. It's actually this is pretty cool.
and your champagne on your own.
Yeah,
In the room.
That's the one where as you're walking in. of course, you arrive at the gate in a massive white carriage being drawn along by like two stallions, and then you get out, and as you're walking in, rose petals.
Of course they do. Yeah. What else would you expect?
Well, and it was just completely natural. I was like, yeah, of course there's rose petals there. Seems right.
Yeah.
But I didn't stay at it, but I did have a really great look around the sorry, I can't remember the name of it. The Sail Hotel in Dubai.
Oh, yes,
Help
yes.
me out.
The famous one that is called the something or other.
It's called the something or other. That's one.
And I'm going to look it up. So carry on as we talk.
And I remember as
Al Arab, is it? No.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that.
So having this, had a great lunch there, and then having this tour around. Then that was a pretty crazy. There's like gold.
There's
trim,
a lot of gold
trim in the
Emirates.
showers.
Yeah.
In the showers. It's like,
Burj Al Arab.
Thank you, Burj Al Arab. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but so not everybody is going to get to have all these luxurious experiences, but everybody loves to travel. So where are some of the best destinations you've ever been that are kind of accessible to everybody?
Sure. Well, this is the cool thing about travel, right? Is that it's so cheap right now. People sit there waiting for the $1,300 return flight to Paris, when in fact the $2,200 return flight is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And this is our colleague Grant Bradley uses the term the golden age of travel. It's almost tongue in cheek, but it's bang on. It's just a great time to go. So for me, yeah. And so if you're burning your own money, then and you're a Kiwi, Asia is just like there and so amazing and so cool and so cheap and brilliant.
What are some of the places you've been to in Asia that you really enjoyed?
I had a wonderful trip last year cycling through Vietnam. I think, and I know you're a fan of.
I love a
the
cycling
push bike
trip.
too.
Yeah,
It's a great way.
best way to see a place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you feel like you're intimately connected with every bump of the road that got you from point A to point B, and it's one of those kind of true cliche things that all the kids run out and wave at you.
They do.
As
So
you're going
great.
along. Yeah,
And you're
then when
burning
you-
calories too.
yeah, totally. It's so you feel a little bit righteous. You get to where
You can
you're
eat
going.
as much as you like, which is my favourite thing.
Yeah, and the first beer after a long day on the bike. And actually, to be honest, they're never long enough. I could cycle more on those trips. So yes, I love Vietnam. Always wanted to get to Sri Lanka. I know you cycled Sri Lanka.
I did. It's one of my favourite places.
Yeah.
You've been there as well?
I've been there. I didn't cycle. No, I did cycle there, but only for half a day.
Yeah, okay.
But it was great and,
Yeah.
and totally recommend it. It's kind of like an easier version of India.
The one thing I've really learned, actually, or the one thing I learned is one of the things is it's really not about a list of places, because when I look at these places, I now equate them with experiences, right? So Sri Lanka was on my list, but really what I'd want to do is go cycling in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and you should. It's amazing. Yeah.
And so it's not just have you done India? Have you done New York?
I hate it when people say, "Have you done somewhere?"
Done a place.
You haven't
Yeah.
done it. You've been there. You've seen a bit of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And who could do India, right?
I know, it's impossible.
India will do you long more you've done it.
What are some of the
Certainly.
places that you would go back to again and again and again because they're just so amazing?
Well, again, so it will go back to the experiences and being able to take and the people that you might travel with. So I could happily go back to places that I've been to if I know I'm going to be doing some cool thing at that place. So it's not just about the place. But I could wander around Tokyo for days on end, and I felt the same about Buenos Aires. Really dug Buenos Aires.
What's so great about Buenos Aires? I haven't been there yet. Want to go?
You haven't been?
No.
So they serve a steak about half the size of this table.
Yeah.
It's just like the steak is just amazing. But that's not, that's just one part of it. So they have all these, they do all these in Buenos Aires. They're mad about all these things that I really like. So they're mad about sport, in this case football, or predominantly football, and they love a good bit of steak. They love red wine, and they love staying up late, and just all these like really cool things that make sense. And it's got this classic kind of faded European grandeur about the place.
architecture is amazing.
Yeah.
And the wide boulevards. I mean, it looks quite European, doesn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get there on one flight from New Zealand.
One flight.
Yeah.
New Zealand.
And a lot of bands like to tour there. They also like to film concerts there because the crowds, like New Zealand crowds, are good if they're a bit drunk, and if they're let's say, not just older white people, because otherwise we've got a bit of a reputation internationally for just kind of politely
down and
clapping.
clapping. Yeah.
But if you're in Argentina, Buenos Aires at a
crazy.
concert, they are singing every single word. They absolutely love it.
But, we found probably one of the best bars I've ever been to there, and I can remember it. No, it was Floria Atlantico, I think. Anyway, it's in the sewer, right? So it's in this. you go through a flower shop to get there, and so we went to the flower. Someone said, "Oh, you go through the flower shop, go and knock on the door. There's an old man. He'll tell you there's no bar, but there isn't." So we knocked on the door, and this old man says, "No, there's no bar." And we're like, "No, they said just no, there's no bar." And so we went away, and we came back the next night. In the intervening time, someone told us the name of the barman, so to go back and it's like some sort of weird password thing. It sounds like some sort of hipster shtick, but it was actually just a grumpy old Argentinian guy telling gringos to go away. And it is a flower shop. You turn out and you go through this flower shop. And so eventually, on the second night, he lets us in, and you go down, and you pay and this is just so Buenos Aires. You go through this closed flower shop. It's nighttime. The shop's closed. He lets you in. You go down, and there's this massive, amazing bar that is on a bend the whole way long, because it's in like this round massive sewer pipe thing, and of course as soon as we walked in, being Buenos Aires, being Argentina, there's two beautiful young women sitting at a little table with a glass of wine each and a steak, sharing a steak. Like this is what they do on a night. Oh, she'll get a steak, and again it's like the
Three
steaks,
plates.
Yeah, the steak's bigger than the plates in my house, right?
Yeah.
So it's a cool town. That's a great town.
Yeah, that's so surreal. All right, so we get to the travel bug section.
Yeah.
So you don't like people who complain about planes. Tell us more.
So it's kind of a theme, right? We're talking earlier about how cheap it is to travel right now. So people book a cheap flight and to fly around the world, to be fed, to arrive safely, to arrive in all probability at about the time they were told they would arrive. Most of the time they have their luggage with them. In my 7.5 years, touch wood on this one, but I haven't lost any luggage yet, unless it was me who lost it. Literally me leaving the thing somewhere. And so you've done this amazing thing that your grandparents could not have imagined, or they might, possibly our grandparents were just at the start of the jet age. They might have thought, wow, one day it might be possible to fly to Sydney, and so you've had this amazing experience, and you're complaining that there wasn't enough leg room, or that someone else in the flight took up too much armrest thing, or if you're on a really cheap domestic flight and you're a bit grumpy because all you get is a free biscuit and you don't get a glass of wine anymore. Did you know how cheap it is to fly to Queenstown? It's indecent. So sometimes I look at these prices and I think, how do these guys run an airline? Like, these planes are worth, hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm going to hop on that thing, and you're going to plant me in Paris or New York or wherever.
It's magical.
It's incredible.
I still don't understand how a plane works, and I don't care because it's magic. It gets me somewhere exciting. Yeah.
So if I can, I will always be in business, right? or beyond. I'll always ask. So
it has been a good job, hasn't it?
Oh, it has been a good job. But one of the sordid little secrets that I've tried not to let the PR people for airlines know is that I can actually fly in economy quite comfortably.
So what are your tips for flying in economy?
Neck rest, eye thing. What do you call it? Eye mask. Or just even better than an eye mask is just throw a blanket over yourself with a neck rest, 2 sleeping pills.
Okay.
2.
2 sleeping pills.
And then an energy drink? No. That's what the league plays.
And a glass of red wine, and I'm out. Also, aisle seats. Always
I'm
aisles.
definitely
so
an aisle
that,
seat.
that little bit more. And also,
mine's not that. I just don't want to get trapped in. Like, if when you're in a 3 and you're by the window, like, the window's good because you can kind of turn yourself away from people, so you get that kind of illusion of a bit more privacy. But if you need to go to the bathroom and you're stuck next to 2 people and they're asleep, that gives me claustrophobia.
I think too, the real plane nerds love to go for a walk. When we do it, we're writing the flight check reviews, right? And so and you want to go, it's journalism. You got to go and be nosy about people and see who are the fellow passengers today. So so for me, I've got to be on the Isle. Yeah. I also this, another little known fact. I'm not that wild about seeing the wings. Yeah.
Are you a nervous flyer?
Well, no, I don't like it. Not terribly, but just that it is kind of a stark reminder that you're, shaved monkey in a tin can, and there's this wing slightly wobbling, and so I can kind of do with that. I got a hot tip for that though. If you are ever a bit nervous about flying, and obviously this is a serious thing, and some people have talked to therapists about all sorts of stuff. Have a good book, have a really good book, and go super deep in it during any turbulence or any time you're a bit worried. I was on one flight and it was really bad. It was a little plane. It was just sort of in the tumble dryer, and I had this,
where was that?
That was actually this was coming out of Lukla. The
Nepal.
Makes sense,
yeah. Classic thing there too. So when like Lukla Airport, so there's the runway, and they've pushed all the crashed planes and helicopters off to one side. And so,
reassuring.
Yeah, totally. And so when your planes are coming in and they're suddenly coming in a hurry because the clouds cleared for like 20 minutes, and they go, right, you guys quickly go and stand by that red crashed helicopter. No, not that red crashed helicopter, the other red crashed helicopter. So you're literally over there standing next to the crashed helicopter and waiting for your planes to arrive, and then you'll jump in. And actually, this was classic too. The takeoff out of Lukla, I swear. So little plane, I can't remember what kind of plane it was. Little twin engine turboprop thing, and you can see straight into the cabin. And I swear, the pilot, he must have been first officer, so he's on the right, and he, the engines are going, and you can just see looking up the cab at the aisle, you can see a shot, and he gets his hand like this, and he gets a baseball glove, and he puts this baseball glove on like this, and like straps it on, and then just drops the hammer on this thing, because the runway is famously on some sort of terrible angle, and so it just thunders down the thing, and then
so what, the glove sort of steadies the hand?
I don't know, but we get airborne.
Maybe it's his lucky glove.
So you get airborne, and he takes off the glove. It's like the dude's got a throttle glove.
That's awesome.
I'm going to say lucky glove.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, can't fly without it.
Hasn't gone wrong yet. So on that one, I was reading. I remember actually I was reading this book about Napoleon's retreat from Moscow or something, and I was just really deeply into that book. Cause
See, for me, that would serve to, if I couldn't go to sleep on a plane, I'd probably read that.
Yeah. But after we landed, someone said, I saw you just reading a book, man. You're a really cool cat. And I was like, yeah, really cool.
I'm so calm, so relaxed. Let's get to the final section, because we could talk and talk and talk. There's so many yarns. But for the destination of the week, let's do a European river cruise, as we have been in cruise month.
Sure.
So take us on a European cruise fairly briefly, but
sure,
make it wondrous.
So the place that I've been thinking about, and I have this great, I haven't picked up too many souvenirs over the years, but I've got on my wall at home, framed, I've got this print from a recreated Gutenberg press from the town of Mainz in Germany, and that's where Gutenberg invented the press. And so as an old print guy, this was quite this is like a kind of a a spiritual thing for me. It was really amazing to go there and see that. Anyway, so whilst we were there, they said, can someone come, they gave us a little demonstration about how the printing press worked, and I got to go up and press this thing to print this page, and so I have that at home. So I've always dug that.
That's awesome.
And river cruising in general is awesome, right?
I agree.
You've done one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just love that you get so much closer to the villages and the towns that you're stopping in, and you can just obviously when the ship's not moving, but you can just hop off and go and have a little walk around, and you might be able to borrow a bike and take a little ride along the riverbanks or go into a little town, and it's just really
a complete different kettle of fish from ocean cruising, which is also cool for different reasons in its own way. But when you're on these little rivers and you pull in and the boat stops, and 3 minutes later you're walking through some village, and you can join a group tour thing, because there'll always be something going on from the ship, or you and a half dozen buddies can just wander off and find a cafe or a bar, or
And even when you're sailing, there's just so many beautiful things to look at. Like I did one in France, and we went up the Seine to Normandy, and just passing through, it was just so peaceful, and just so many beautiful things to look at. And the food was really good, and I think it's probably like a good cruise for people who think they don't like cruising.
Yeah,
If you said,
totally.
do you want to go on a cruise? And somebody said, oh, no, big ship, ocean, oh, no. But if they went on a river cruise, I think they'd be sold.
And because
cruising.
rivers are often when they're ones that are cruised, often very calm. You know, and so it's easy, it's straightforward. I've been doing it in India, doing it in Myanmar. I did it in Laos and in Thailand. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But as far as like Europe goes, where would you steer someone in the direction, you guys?
I think, France is amazing. There's a lot of different rivers in France that you can cruise on. And then a big one is Budapest to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So that's the Danube.
Danube. And
Danube.
you get this classic Valley of Castles kind of thing where there's like 42 castles in a day or some crazy total chocolate box scenery.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think you did right about this being the perfect way to introduce someone to the idea of a holiday on a ship.
Yeah.
If you just don't like the look of a big white boat.
Yeah.
And there'd be a bit of conversion there. There'd be quite a few people who went further.
Yeah,
So,
I reckon. It's just a nice, gentle, pleasant way to travel.
Yeah. I feel like we got the tip of the iceberg with your yarns. That was really good. Thank you.
Sorry if I went on.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Part two.
Yeah, we can definitely do a part 2. And you can see more. So go to nzherald.co.nz/trip notes. We've got previous episodes there, lots of videos from our other guests like Rachel Hunter, Bree from Celebrity Treasure Island and ZM, Tom Sainsbury, the comedian, Winston Aldworth, also
a comedian.
rubbing shoulders with those folks. The Facebook page, facebook.com/NZH Travel. Also NZH Travel on Instagram. You can find Stephanie too on Instagram.
Home Stephanie, yes.
Yes.
You on
Winston,
Instagram? You're a
not
sporadic
much.
grammar, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not wild about that.
You're more on the Twitter, aren't you?
I'm very active on Twitter. I don't quite get Instagram, but I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
And it's it's a thing.
It's just not your thing.
That's just not mine.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Winston. All the best
Thank
for
you, guys.
the next
Thanks,
job too.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thanks, guys.